What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another deck for Link Evolution guys. I do apologise for not making any videos at the time of this recording for a while because I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Zombies with a friend of mine. And yeah, I've been kind of getting sidetracked and that's why I haven't made a video for a while. But nevertheless guys, we've done one. I've had this deck done for a while, I just didn't actually do any replays for it. And that is an Invoked Relinquished deck. Now, Relinquished, obviously we all know, the creator of Duel Monsters, Mr. Maximilian Pegasus. He decided to use Relinquished and it is a fantastic ritual monster back from the OG. And he got a range of new support, which actually makes it a pretty good one. Relinquished likes to steal monsters your opponent has. Obviously, it has a Linkmon, so they can do the same. It has 2 fusions that can do the same. It even has just basically a monster that that lets you steal an opponent's monster during your turn. You've got a magic card that can do it. You've got about 5 cards that can steal your opponent's monsters. It's actually really sweet. But then if you combine it with Alistair and the Invoke cards, it gives the deck a little bit of a more like protective feel and some more punch, because obviously relying on a ritual monster is not really the best thing in the world. So guys, if you are struggling to make this deck, check out the card hub in the description down below. Without any further ado guys, let's get into the video. Starting us off guys is of course the 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. We are running the Invoked engine, which is simply 9 cards. The rest of the 31 cards please supply Relinquished. So Alistair guys, if you normal summon it, you get to add that invocation. But if you're like me and you know you are the epitome of God in terms of Alistair, like if you worship him, you will always open with either Magical Meltdown Alistair or Alistair Invocation. So you never know. So normally Alistair is like a magnet for Ash Blossom or like Imperm. But if you obviously like say you already draw the invocation, you don't particularly give a crap. And also, Alistair's hand effect is you can select 1 fusion monster you control and give him 1000 tap points simply by discarding Alistair. Now, your Millennium Eyes Restrict and 1000 Eyes Restrict are classed as fusions, so that means you can give your monsters 1000 tap points to kind of protect them. We are using 1 copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician because I am using like a magician, a magician souls type, because we are running like 19 spells. So that means if you do obviously like you played Magical Meltdown Search Alistair, you could just send the Magical Meltdown to the Graveyard of Souls to draw an extra card. And of course, Apprentice Illusion Magician is a Garnet because obviously you can just send you send her to the graveyard because of Magician Souls. But if you do draw her, she's a fantastic Garnet, because simply by discarding any card, you can special summon her to the field, which means she is really helpful to go into like Anaconda plays. 2 copies of Ash Blossom, because you know what, Ash Blossom's fantastic hand trap. If your opponent adds a card from the deck to the hand, special ones from the deck, sends a card from the deck to the grave, Ash Blossom just shuts it down. Really great interruption. Using Gamma Seal, the Kaiju, and also we have Raiden, the multi-dimensional Kaiju. We're running 2 Kaijus because obviously you can just Kaiju your opponent's like big boss monster, summon Relinquish, absorb your Kaiju. That's the reason we're running it. Now I am running that lone copy of Illusionist Faceless Magician. Now you might think, well, I'm only running 1. Because some people do run like 2 or 3 copies, but I found that this is a good recurrence card, but you don't really want it all too well. Like, it's a good card nevertheless, but I find you don't really want to capitalize on this. So if a 1000 Eyes monster or Relinquish you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, special on this card from your hand or grave. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can basically resurrect your 1000 Eyes monster or Relinquish. However, like I say, you can use its both effects in the same turn, which is really nice. But again, I didn't find that you only needed 1 of this. I didn't really find you needed more than 1. Again, we're using another Kaiju, this Sticky String, basically another one of our Kaijus. We are using Magician Souls, guys. Like I touched on earlier with Apprentice Illusion Magician. Magician Souls, you can just basically summon it to the field by pitching Apprentice Illusion from your deck. It's a free monster. It is a level 1, so that means you can go into Relinquished Anima with it. And also, like I say, we are running a load of spells, so you can like ditch one of your like dead cards, and you get to draw 2 cards, and you get to draw cards off it. 3 copies of Millennium Eyes Illusionist. Now this is the better version of the Illusionist rather than Illusionist Faceless Magician. The reason why this card is better is because you can discard, and also I should mention, you can also discard Faceless. I believe you can discard Faceless. No, you can't, it's level 5, you can't do that. Anyway, the reason why Millenniumized Illusionist is better is because, as a quick effect, you can discard it to target any effect monster your opponent controls and equip it to Relinquish or 1000 Eyes monster. So that means your 1000 Eyes Restrict, your Millenniumized Restrict, or Relinquish, just basically discard this, equip a monster directly to them. A fantastic card. And that's a quick effect as well, I want you to note. And also, if a Eyes Fusion monster or Relinquish is special summoned and this card is in your grave, you get to add it back to your hand. So it's just with that recyclability as well, and it's just great to basically steal your opponent's cards. Now, we are running a Predaplant engine in this as well. We're running the 2 Orpheus Scorpio and Darling Cobra. The reason why we're running these 2 specific ones is because Orpheus Scorpio, upon being summoned, lets you send a monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a Predaplant monster, which means you automatically special summon Darling Cobra. Darling Cobra's ability is if it's special summoned by a Predaplant, so basically Orpheus Scorpio, you get to add a Polymerization or a Fusion card from your deck to your hand, which means you can search out Instant Fusion, Relinquished Fusion, or Super Polymerization, depending on what you need. So Darling Cobra just searches out all our Fusion cards. Orpheus Scorpio, say you can just send you can dump Relinquish any one of your effect monsters to the graveyard, and then if you add Relinquished Fusion, you can still go into the 1000 Eyes monster. And then 3 copies of Relinquish, guys, because you know what, the OG one is absolutely fantastic. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and equip it to Relinquished. And Relinquish gains attack and defense equal to that monster's attack and defense, which is nice. If Relinquish would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can destroy that monster instead, which is really great. And any battle damage you take is inflicted to your opponent instead, so that's really great. So this is basically Relinquish has some battle protection, which is kind of good, and it steals your opponent's monster. We are running that 1 copy of Aloradanus because of draw power. I decided to only run 1 because we are running quite a lot of darks, and yes, you want to basically draw cards, but you don't really want to banish all your cards because you want to keep them in the graveyard for either invoked plays or for using Relinquished Fusion. I'm only running 2 copies of Black Illusion Ritual because I found 3 was kind of dead. Yes, we're running 3 copies of Relinquish, but that's to see it more. But also, Relinquished Fusion doesn't. You could just pitch your monster and use Relinquished Fusion from the graveyard. So that's kind of why. We are using 1 copy of Instant Fusion because this can special summon 1000 Eyes Restrict and Millennium Eyes Restrict steal opponent's monsters, and you can go into Relinquish Anima to steal another monster. So the main reason why we use Instant Fusion. 3 copies of Invocation because you know we are running Alistair. This card gets added to your hand because of Alistair, but again, if you're a true Evoke player, you draw this card anyway. What this card is, guys, if you could basically fusion summon any invoked monster with this card, pretty much, and if you can use monsters from your field or your opponent's graveyard, so which is kind of great. But if you use monsters on the field, they are banished instead of going to the graveyard. Please bear that in mind. But also, the best part is you can shuffle this card back into the deck, add a banished Alistair from your add a banished Alistair back to your hand. So Invocation recycles Alistair, Alistair then goes back into the Invocation. The 2 just recycle themselves all the time. And then 3 copies of Magical Meltdown because this card basically, upon activation, adds Alistair to your hand. So basically you're running 7 Alistairs because we've got Terraforming that searches out the Magical Meltdown as well. And I want to note, guys, as well, with Magical Meltdown in play, your opponent cannot negate any fusion cards. So that means they cannot negate, or they can't negate Super Polymerization anyway, but they can't negate Relinquished Fusion because of Magical Meltdown if it is in play. So that's really great as well. And we're running 2 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rise and then 2 copies of Preparation of Rise. The reason we're using both is because it gives you the maximum advantage to see it. So pre-preparation is kind of better because it lets you add the ritual and the ritual spell, which is nice, but pre-preparation just lets you add the ritual monster. The reason I'm running 2 is because pre-preparation, yes, it's good, but if, say you've got 2 copies in your hand and you draw the ritual card, one of them's dead because you have to add the ritual card to then add you have to add the ritual spell to then add the ritual. So that's why I only used 2 because yes, it's good, but sometimes if you do draw it, you just want to play the preparation to just draw basically the ritual monster. That's the main reason we did that. And also, Preparation of Rites does recycle the ritual spell from the graveyard. And then we're using 2 copies of Relinquished Fusion. This is a quick play, guys, so you can use it during your opponent's turn. You basically use Relinquish and any effect monster to go into Millennium Eyes Restrict And also, you can banish this card from your grave to target one effect monster your opponent controls and equip it to either 1,000 eyes or any eyes restrict fusion or relinquished. So that basically, again, this is another absorb card on top of illusion, on top of Millennium Eyes illusion, on top of relinquish's ability, on top of your fusion's ability. You have loads of cards to steal your opponent's cards. We're running super polymerization because, again, super poly is absolutely broken in this deck because, again, you are using a lot of fusions. Like, say you've got relinquish on your side of the field, your opponent threatens it, you can just use super poly, use relinquish and your opponent's monster to go into Millennium Eyes. You can go into Starving Venom, you can go to Mudguard Dragon, you can do all sorts of super polymerization because you can do it to your opponent's turn because it's a quick play, and your opponent can't do anything to stop super polymerization from activating. And then Terraforming, as I say, is just basically a free Alistair because Terraforming searches out Magical Meltdown then searches out Alistair. And that's it for the deck, guys. On to the extra deck. We're running 2 copies of Mechaba, really standard for Invoke plays. You need Alistair plus a light monster. Because Alistair is a monster with 1,000 attack points, you can go into Salmon Great Armorage. And then because Armorage is a side version, you can go into Secure Gardener. Secure Gardener is the light attribute we need. So a single Alistair equals Mechaba. And Mechaba going on turn 1 is great because he's an Omnigate. Because should your opponent activate a spell trap or a monster effect, you can discard the same type of card and negate and banish that card. So your opponent activates like a monster effect, you just pitch the monster in your hand and you negate and banish that monster effect. Really great. Purgatory is great for sitting out boards because it gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls, which is really big. He deals piercing damage on top of all this, and he can attack all monsters your opponent controls. So that means he's just the ultimate OTK mon. So because, again, he's a fusion, you can even boost his power with Alistair. Now we're using 2 copies of Millennium Eyes Restrict. This is the fusion which requires Relinquish plus any effect monster, which makes it really easy to go into with Relinquish Fusion and Super Polymerization. Its effect is, should your opponent activate a monster effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls in the graveyard or on the field. And being in the graveyard is really key, it's really nice. And Millennium Eyes absorbs that monster's attack and defense, and monsters with that name cannot activate their effects. So that means, say for instance you've got Millennium Eyes Restrict on the field and your opponent played Alistair. They triggered Alistair's ability. You can absorb Alistair, and then because you've absorbed a monster with that name, Alistair's effect can't activate its ability. So that means you basically shut down the invocation. So you see how it means? That's why Millennium Eyes is great. It just means though, because it has 0 attack points, if you like go into it, all your opponent has to do is summon a monster attack into Millennium Eyes, then they can use their effect. So Millennium Eyes is great. It kind of puts pressure on your opponent, like to attack it, like to stop using monster effects, but it is kind of an easy out because it has 0 attack points. But going first, you can quite easily use Mechaba and Millennium Eyes, because obviously Millennium Eyes being a monster negate and Mechaba being a monster and a spell negate. So you kind of have like a spell, you have like a spell and a monster negate or 2 monster negates. It's really great. We have Mudguard Dragon because it is an easy fusion to go into with Super Polymerization. You need 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types. Great against a good range around decks, like for instance Predaplant's a dark plant, but Millennium Eyes is a dark spellcaster. Because they have the same attribute, you can just steal your opponent's monsters. That's the reason why you run it, just steal like your opponent's cards that are like the same type, or same attribute but different types. We're using Starving Venom Fusion Dragon because it is the best like dark monster to go into. Dark is the most like played attribute, so it's really easy to go into Starving Venom. When Starving Venom is fused, something that gains attack equal to the attack of the special monster, which is kind of great. A Starving Venom can steal the effect of a level 5 or higher monster on the field, which is kind of great as well. And also, if this card is destroyed by your opponent, if it was fusion summoned, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So all in all, Starving Venom is just the best super poly target. And then we are running 1,000 Eyes Restrict. Again, the only way to summon this card is because of instant fusion. It's the only reason the way you're going to play it. But even if you played instant fusion, summon 1,000 Eyes. 1,000 Eyes' effect can still trigger, which basically is the same as Relinquish. You can target one monster your opponent controls and basically absorb it. And then you're going to basically link off 1,000 Eyes Restrict, so then you can still attack. Because 1,000 Eyes Restrict's effect is only it can attack, but instant fusion prevents it from attacking, so you can't really attack with it anyway if you use instant fusion. But just stealing an opponent's monster with this, then linking it away is really key. We are using Nightmare Phoenix to kind of for back row removal, because by pitching a card you can destroy a spell or trap on the field. Nightmare Unicorn, you basically discard a card, target one card on the field, return it to the deck. Really sweet. We are using Link Karibo. We are running a lot of level 1s. Like I say, you can use 1000 Eyes, steal opponent's monster, go into Link Karibo. We have Relinquished, that can go into Link Karibo. It's just a way to go into like another Link. We have Predator Planet, Verite, and Condex. We are running a lot of fusion monsters. You can go like Orphis Scorpio, Darling Cobra, get like Relinquished Fusion or Instant or Super Polymerization. You can then go into Verite Anaconda, and then you can like trigger its ability because you can use both effects, like make opponent's monster darks. We are running the Starving Venom. And then you can use its second ability where you can pay 2000 life points and send a fusion or polymerization to the graveyard to trigger that card. So that means you can play Relinquished Fusion of Verite Anaconda to go into Millennium Eyes. You can use Super Poly to go into, again, Millennium Eyes if you want to, or Starving Venom. You can use your opponent's monster, because you can use both effects of Verite Anaconda in the same turn. So you could target any monster your opponent controls, make it dark, play Verite Anaconda's ability to send Super Poly, then go into Starving Venom, stuff like that, really easy. We are using Relinquished Anima as well, because he's a level 1, you need any level 1 monster. So, 1000 Eyes goes into this, Relinquish goes into this, and also Magician's Souls goes into this. You can target one face-up monster, Relinquish Anima points to, and absorb it. So that means your opponent really, really, really has to play around their column. So if they have any column, if they have a monster in the second or fourth column, or a link monster that's pointing onto our field, Relinquish Anima just absorbs it, and it's really great for basically absorbing monsters. So your opponent has like a full board. Just off an instant fusion, you could steal a monster with 1000 Eyes, then you could steal another monster with Anima, so just one magic card, you can steal 2 monsters. I'll take that as a victory. And then again, we are running the Almirage and the Secure Gardener, because you link Alistair into Almirage, then you link Almirage away into Secure Gardener. Doing this gives you a fire and a light attribute monster, which basically sets up Purgatrio, and it sets up Mecha off, basically summoning a single Alistair. That's the main reason why you do it. And that's it for the deck, guys. Yes, I kind of rushed, but the deck is really straightforward. It's a really fun deck. It is, by all means, it's not like the best deck in the world. It's just a very fun deck to play. I really enjoyed playing it. And I do hope you enjoy the replays. You do see a lot of people rage, especially when you keep stealing their monsters. So yeah, guys, stay tuned, because we have kind of got a weird deck coming up next. It's a really fun one. It's one we did in stream last night. And I do hope you guys enjoy it. So, without further ado, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.